Gabby Petito never goes outside.
I wanted to talk a little bit about van life and what it is and how people see it. Van life is generally sold as this like end destination. You know, I'll be happy when I'm living van life. I'm dreaming of van life. And something about that doesn't really sit too well with me. So I've been living van life now for 3 years. #van life. And basically, it's great. I love it. I genuinely find it's really useful and it's a great way to do the things I want to do. But there's a lot of things about how van life is projected, especially within social media, which feels weird. If your aim is to just travel around, van life is great. If you're doing like a 2-week holiday or weekend trips or 6 months break and just getting away from the city life or your work and you're just going to have a travel time and basically not spend too much money, and van life is great for that. But I wouldn't really say that is fully van life. Van life is full-time. There's a lot of pros and cons to that, but the pros are actually pretty damn good. I guess the selling of van life as the end destination, or like the thing you want to be having, or like, you know, dreaming of van life, is just a big perfect intersection into consumer culture. It's like, once I have this, I'll be happy, or once I have a house or a car or a family or whatever, I'll be happy. And that's, you know, it's weird because van life is generally a little bit counterculture. It's a little bit anti-consumerism. But when it's sold in this way, it just neatly slots in as another piece of consumer culture. And I'm obviously, largely I'm against that because it missells what people could use the van for, or missells what van life can give you. So for me, the goal is not van life, in the same way that the goal isn't house life. If your dream is to live in a house, you're probably fairly destitute and homeless. If your dream is just to live in a van, perhaps you're just a little bit goalless, or you don't have something to focus your time on. The big draw of van life is it's a tool to do the things that you want to do in a more effective way. And essentially the reason why is the kind of global but highly westernized housing crisis. And in short, the word is rent. The housing crisis is absurd. It is not something that is inevitable. It is created by governments, policy, and their ideology. And the problem with it is it stifles a generation of people in their creativity and the things that they really want to do, because they're continuously being sucked for their rent money, which is often a vast amount or a vast percentage of the money they can earn, especially when they're young. If you're a young creative or an athlete or anything like this, where you're not necessarily focused on making money as your key vocation, you end up spending a lot of your time, or almost of your time, working in jobs to pay your rent, which means you're much less effective at doing the thing that you really want to do.
Loneliness stinks. We've probably all been there at one time or another, and there's no really arguing with the fact that it is no fun. But it turns out that loneliness might have an even nastier set of tricks up its sleeve. It could be wreaking havoc on our health and even cutting short our lives. What? The internet is full of headlines about how dangerous loneliness can be, but the idea that it causes more public health problems than obesity, or that it can literally kill you, it's pretty wild. Thankfully, things might not be quite as dire as a Google search might lead you to believe, but it is worth taking a look at how loneliness can affect your health. It's important to realize that loneliness isn't the same as social isolation, which is the state of being out of contact with society or other people. Living alone or spending lots of time by yourself isn't bad, as long as it works for you. Loneliness is more about the psychological consequences of having a gap between the interaction and social support you'd like and what you're actually getting. When you think about it, loneliness is actually a pretty sensible thing, evolutionarily speaking. Psychologists have suggested that it could fulfill a role similar to hunger, urging us to seek out the kind of social companionship that helps us survive and pass along our genes. But it can become kind of problematic when it stops being a short-term thing, like after a move to a new city, and becomes a long-term one. Now, the stats on how many of us struggle with loneliness are honestly all over the place, but many studies have shown that rates are highest among adolescents, and some have suggested that loneliness becomes more prevalent again very late in life. Recent surveys in the UK, Australia, and New Zealand have suggested that about 10 to 30% of adolescents and young adults, and about 10 to 15% of the elderly experience persistent loneliness. One study even suggested that loneliness can be contagious. In other words, how lonely your friends and neighbors are can predict your future loneliness, maybe because lonely people tend to pull away from others. So, that's great.
So what features do we see in someone who has psychosis? Well, there are 4 cardinal features, or clinical manifestations. These are delusions, hallucinations, thought disorders, agitation, and aggression. So what do these mean? Well, let's look at delusions, hallucinations, and thought disorder, or thought disorganization, in more detail. So delusions are defined as strongly held false belief that are not typical of the person's background or culture. Further, delusions can be categorized based on its plausibility. So delusions can be bizarre, or delusions can be non-bizarre. A bizarre delusion, an example of that is the person thinks that their family member has been replaced by someone else. And then a non-bizarre delusion is something like the person thinks that their partner is cheating on them. So it's not as bizarre, if that makes any sense. And then you have hallucinations. Now, hallucinations is defined as a wakeful sensory experience of content that is not actually present. And sometimes hallucination and illusions are actually used interchangeably, but they're different because Again, hallucination is a wakeful sensory experience of content that is actually not present. And illusion is actually distortion or misinterpretation of real sensory stimuli.
You see, you get these builds which cost about $100,000, and that's just taking the biscuit. Van life isn't about the most expensive van, the amazing build that you paid for it to be done. No, it's about the community. It's about true van life. And if it's all glorified and color corrected, then it's not van life. It's fake. The van life fad is about enjoyment. It's about coming together. It's about love. So let's see the true van life.
The sleeping bag's alright, don't get me wrong, but I'm bloody cold. I'm so cold.
Hi guys, a little man in a little van here.
Top, I have 270 watts of solar panel from a recycled household solar panel.
I love the band.
So, we are right outside Capitol Reef right now in a free dispersed camp spot, and we've been lucky so far at all the places we've stayed, but I'd say this is one of the best so far. Since we left New York, I've only set up my hammock once, and now we're all the way in Utah, and luckily enough I was able to set up my hammock in one of these trees.
And we're kind of like in the desert.
Very few trees.
Hello, and good morning. It is really nice and sunny today. It's only 10 o'clock in the morning, but it rained all afternoon yesterday. Oh my god! The tent is just coming in on me. The wind is so bad. I've just been sitting here like this for a while. So me and Brian just got up and got ready, made the bed in the tent, set up. I think our plan for today is to just hang out here in the tent. Brian's stretching, doing some morning yoga. That's cool.
That worked out well.
Alright. So I'm gonna make some yogurt. looking to steal some of his granola. All the chocolate melted.
I know, it's a river of chocolate. Be cautious.
You can't keep chocolate in Utah. Not in July. Or in a clear plastic container
Yeah.
that is always in the sun.
I was in the tent this morning, I think that's why.
Duality is this principle of reality that we live in, that everything is split. Okay, and so here in this plane of existence, we perceive things as being split. We perceive everything as having an opposite. Okay, so you have high and low, strong and weak, white and black, up and down. You get the picture. Everything has kind of this opposite. And that's really what duality is all about. And even if you look at like the human body, your body is split into two sides. You have a right and a left. You have two eyes, two hands, two ears. There's two of everything. Everything's split up, okay? And that's really what we're here to experience. We're here to experience the idea of everything being split in two and being able to perceive from both sides, being able to perceive this and that. Okay, and even the way that, again, your body is set up enables you to do that. You can pick something up with your right hand, or you can pick it up with your left hand. You can watch something with your right eye, or you can watch it with your left eye. There's two different ways to perceive everything based on the fact that you yourself are kind of this split perspective. Now, on the negative side of duality is that when we get caught up in it, we become sometimes entrenched in the idea of separation. And often what ends up happening is we end up assigning labels to one side over the other. This is good, this is bad. This one's positive, this one's negative. And you can see this like in the political arena. Okay, so you've got, here in America, you've got Republicans and Democrats, right? There's two sides and they're fighting against one another. This one's right, no, this one's right, no, this one's right, no, this one's right, you're wrong, you're wrong. That's how the negative expression of duality can come out, in that sometimes we get so associated to one side that we entirely invalidate the alternative side. And when we do that, when we get really entrenched that this side is right, and this side is wrong, that's when we really become taken over by separation. We become taken over by our egos, we get angrier, our existence becomes crummier because we're operating from a lower frequency.
Grant County Sheriff's Office.
Were you able to get a description of the intoxication?
Hi, can you hear me, sir? Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi, I'm calling. I'm right on the corner of Main Street by Moonflower, and we're driving by, and I'd like to report a domestic dispute. Florida with the white van, Florida license plate, white van, gentleman,
Where's
about
it at?
5'6", beard. They just drove off. They're going down Main Street. They made a right onto Main Street from Moonflower.
Or what were they doing?
Cooperative, but what'd you say?
What were they doing?
We drove by and the gentleman was slapping the girl.
He was slapping her?
Yes, and then we stopped. They ran up and down the sidewalk. He proceeded to hit her, hopped in the car, and they drove off.
Driver is showing some obscure driving, possibly intoxicated. Currently doing 45 miles an hour. Zone through here is 25. Oh! Subject just hit the curb. Correction, speed limit is 15. I'm about 3/4 of a mile into the arches, just before the gate. You want to place your vehicle into park and go ahead and turn it off for me? No, park?
Oh, it isn't park yet.
Okay, turn off your engine. Go ahead and set your keys on the dash for me, alright? What's your guys' names?
Gabby.
I'm Brian. Gabby, Brian? Okay. What's going on? How come you're crying?
I'm sorry, we've just been fighting this morning. Some personal issues.
It was a long day. We were camping yesterday, and camping got the south flies and stuff. I'm sorry I hit the bump there.
I was distracting him from driving. I'm sorry.
Can I get you to step out of the vehicle for me, man?
Yeah.
Just hang tight right there. Do you mind if I take your keys and just put them on your hood?
You got it, buddy. I'm so
Thank
sorry.
you. Oh, no, you're fine. I'm going to go ahead and close your door. Okay. Why don't you come over here? SO229, I have the female that was on the passenger seat separated from the male. Keys are on the hood. You want to tell me what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. It just, some days I have really bad OCD, and I was just cleaning and straightening up the back of the van before, and I was apologizing to him and saying, I'm sorry that I'm so mean, because sometimes I have OCD and sometimes I just get really frustrated. Not like mean towards him, I just like, I guess my vibe is like, I am really like in a bad mood. And I was just saying, I'm sorry if I'm in a bad mood. I've just been really stressed. I had so much work I was doing on my computer this morning.
What do you do for a living?
Well, I used to work at an all-organic juice bar, but I just quit my job.
Okay.
I was a nutritionist. That was my job.
Cool.
And I just quit my job to travel across the country. And I'm trying to start a blog. I have a blog and stuff. So I've been building my website. So I've just been really stressed. And he doesn't really believe that I could do any of it. So that's kind of been like a, I don't know, he's like down there. I don't know. We've just been fighting all morning. And he wouldn't let me in the car before. And then
Why wouldn't he let you in the car? Because of your OCD?
He told me I needed to calm down. Yeah. But I'm perfectly calm. I'm calm all the time. And he really stresses me out. And this is a rough morning.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't I sit you down in the back seat of my car? You're not in any trouble, okay? I'm not going to be putting handcuffs on you. You obviously don't have any weapons. I'm going to get you into the air conditioning, let you take a breath, relax a little bit, and then I'll come back and talk to you in a few minutes, okay?
Okay.
Alrighty. Like I said, you're not in any trouble. So just go ahead and take a seat. Watch your feet. What's that?
You talked to Gabby already?
Yeah, I just spoke to her.
Yeah.
So, you want to do me a favor? Let's go ahead and get you to step out of the vehicle, alrighty? Come on over here. You're not in any trouble right now. So, tell me what's going on.
She just gets worked up sometimes, and I try and really distance myself from her. So like I lock the car and I walk away from her. What happened this morning is that she's trying to start up like her own little website blog and everything. So I give her time. And we really had a nice morning, if anything. But she just got worked up because we were trying to get going and get our day going because we want to go like arches before the sun goes down.
Okay. You want to tell me about those scratches on your face?
She had a cell phone in her hand. That's why I was pushing her away, because she wanted I locked the keys so I could walk away. I said, let's just take a breather and let's not, go anywhere. Let's just calm down for a minute because she was getting really worked up. And then she had her phone and was trying to get the keys from me, so I got in the way. I was just trying to, I know I shouldn't push, but I was just trying to push her away to go, let's just take a minute, step back and breathe. And she got me with her phone.
Can I see your hand? Oh, you got a mark right here.
Oh, that's from a wire.
That's from a wire?
Yeah.
You want to tell me about hitting that curb?
Hitting the curb was her grabbing the wheel.
She grabbed the wheel?
Yeah. She said, I can't believe we're getting pulled over, and then she grabbed the wheel.
What about the speed? Did she take over the pedal on you?
If I was going fast, I'm sorry. No, it's probably just the moment of like, I'm still shaking now. The adrenaline, seeing the lights flashing up, and then her gripping the wheel. So if I sped up, I'm sorry about that. Or if I was speeding beforehand, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it took quite a bit to catch up to you. So,
yeah. I'm sorry about that. We're just going into the park again to get water because we have a 6-gallon water container to fill up. So we're just grabbing water to fill the hike. Okay. And I was trying to
keep everything calm and quiet because there's plans still to go for a hike. But it's good. Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Of course. Do me a favor. You want to go ahead and just take a seat right over here on the curb for me?
And if I was speeding, I'm sorry. I apologize.
You don't have anything in that pocket or anything like that, do you?
Nope.
Just the wallet? All right. And then, do you mind lifting your shirt so I can check the waistband? Turn around for me real quick. Perfect.
Nothing.
I just want to make sure. That's all, man. Go ahead, do me a favor, take a seat, alrighty? Oh, do you have your ID on you?
In the car. If you want to come with me?
No, we'll just do this. Just go ahead and take a seat.
You come with me, I'll give it to you.
Alright, you're fine. What's your first name?
Brian.
Brian? Is that layman spelling?
B-R-I-N, yeah, and L-A-U-N.
And then your last name?
L-A-U-N.
L-A-U-N.
B-R-I-E.
We would feed off each other's anxiety if it spiraled. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter how much I loved her. It may be bad for your soul. Just saying. I'm not telling you what to do with your life, but if you know you have anxiety, look at the situations you can get in. You know what I mean? And we're not here to be mean to you or anything. Well, you know, there's a first time, and then it usually. We'll go see what Brian's saying, but I think you've heard everything now from.
Quick question. You said you were hitting him in the arm. Did you grab the steering wheel?
No, I didn't.
You did not touch the steering
wheel. But only for like a second because I just saw the lights come on and it was more just like you're an idiot, like you know.
But did you grab the steering wheel and like swerve or anything like that?
No. I didn't touch the steering wheel at all.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and close this door again. Do you have enough air back here, or do you want me to kick it up some more?
Do you have any water?
I will see if I can find some.
Okay, no worries. Thank you.
You wouldn't happen to have any water, would you? Can I get a bottle?
Did you already give a statement to this officer?
I've got this gentleman here.
Yeah. This gentleman noticed that you had some marks on your neck. Yeah. And she's got some marks on her too. We're just trying to figure out what all happened, and I know you probably already told your story. This officer is probably going to be the one handling the whole case. Do you want to listen to what he has to say, and then you tell him what happened, will you?
So,
if you don't mind.
Start at the beginning for me, over.
Start at the beginning. Well, I don't want to go too far back, but we've been in Beyond Land for the past week or so, traveling around, and the flies here are pretty intense. So the flies have definitely been getting to her, and then my feet are dirty and everything. So I think that our little squabble started because we were hanging out at the coffee shop, and when we got back to the van, there was some dirt and stuff in the van, and I moved our food around. It was a little disorganized, so she gets a little.
Will you take those? Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Do you need any water?
It's okay.
It's hot out here.
We were going to get water because we ran out, but it's okay. No, it's alright. I don't like plastic bottles. It's okay. Thank you, though. But we just had a little disagreement there. The disagreement was just that she was getting a little worked up, and I was saying, "No, it's okay. Thank you so much."
As long as it's cold, that's good.
So it was just more of a disagreement, and I just wanted to.
What was the disagreement about?
It was. I wouldn't even call it disagreement. It was just that I'm dirty and I can't change being dirty. Like I got dirty feet, I got sand on my flip flops and stuff like that. It was that we were at the coffee shop for so long because we were there from 9 to 3. So yeah, there's a few little things, little relationships. I don't know if you're in a relationship, but I'm sure
I've been married for over 5 years now. So.
There's a lot of little things.
Yeah, I can go.
And I get it. We weren't physical before the point where I said, all right, let's just take a breather and like walk away for a minute. I'll lock the van up and I'll go for a walk this way, and you can go walk that way on the block. You know, there's that what is it called, Moonflower?
Right.
Yeah, nice areas. You can go either way. It's all shaded. So let's go for a little walk and breathe and come back. Because we're happy with it.
I don't want to cry anymore. I want to just stay focused. I want to find her, like now.
The mother of a missing Northport woman in anguish tonight. Her daughter hasn't been seen or heard from in weeks, and the man who claimed to love her refuses to share what he knows. He's now a person of interest. So where is 22-year-old Gabby Petito, and why is her fiancé hiding behind closed doors? Good evening, I'm Keith Kate.
I'm Jennifer Lee. Thank you for joining us. Those questions have baffled police and people across the country who are now following this case. Gabby's fiancé, Brian Laundrie, is still silent, but his attorney released a statement 2 hours ago.
Yeah, the attorney now representing Laundrie and his family said this: "In my experience, intimate partners are often the first person law enforcement focuses their attention on in cases like this. And the warning that any statement made will be used against you is true. regardless of whether my client had anything to do with Ms. Petito's disappearance. As such, on the advice of counsel, Mr. Laundrie is not speaking on this matter. So, now what? Nico Clemens live in Northport tonight. Nico, emotions running high, the clock ticking, and Gabby's family just still waiting for any news about her whereabouts.
Well, Keith, there's a tweet I want to show you. It's from the Northport police chief. He's asking the Laundrie family attorney to help arrange a conversation with Brian Laundrie. That's where we are right now. The police chief going to social media, desperate to get answers, like so many people. The Grand Teton National Park put out a missing person post on its Instagram page with Gabby Petito's picture. No one has heard from the Northport woman in weeks.
Every minute and every hour and every day that you decide to stay in the background and not give up some information that could really help this are resources that are being used and lost.
Northport police say they found Gabby's van at her home Saturday, a van she and her fiance Brian Laundrie used for a cross-country road trip. Laundrie got back September 1st. Petito wasn't with him. Her mom, Nicole Schmidt, reported her daughter missing 10 days later.
It's obvious that
It's
he's
odd.
hiding something,
Yes.
but we want him to just let us know where we can find Gabby.
But were there problems in their relationship? A police report from the Moab City Police Department in Utah shows Petito and Laundrie had a fight that got physical on August 12th. One officer reported Petito was slapping Laundrie when he grabbed her face and pushed her back. But no charges were filed, and they agreed to separate for the night.
Gabby Petito's fiance is considered missing, and the search for him is ending its second day. The attorney for Brian Laundrie's family said Friday night that they have not heard from him since Tuesday. Crews are now focused on a 25,000-acre piece of land in Sarasota County called Carlton's Reserve.
Police brought in heavy equipment suited both for land and water as they tried to narrow down the location of the one person who they know saw Gabby Petito after family last spoke to her August 25th in the Grand Tetons.
We're hopeful that he's, out here. Certainly we prepare for all different possibilities. But our goal is to locate him and bring him back to Northport.
The sun beat down as the attention of the nation zeroed in on Brian Laundrie, who police assumed for days was in the home owned by his parents. All day Friday, media and neighbors staked it out as calls grew for Laundrie to finally speak about Gabby. Instead, around 9, his attorney said police were invited to the home by parents who said they hadn't heard from him since Tuesday.
His family says that this is a place that he frequents. They also believe that this is where he came. And again, this is according to them.
Police searched the 200-acre Myakkahatchee Creek Park nearly 12 hours Saturday, and on Sunday went through the 25,000-acre Carlton Reserve. From Skyfox, you can see Brian, maybe a needle in a haystack.
I mean, these are people that were living off the grid in different areas. I don't know how frequently, if he would come out here and do, day-long hikes or whatever. I mean, you could be out here for months if you wanted.
All right, what I need from everybody here is help, because the goal is still not met, and that goal is to bring Gabby home safe, all right? And I'm asking for help from everyone here. I'm asking for help everyone at home. I'm asking for help from the parents of Brian, and I'm asking for help of the family members and friends of the Laundrie family as well. There is a tip line that you can call anonymously. Whatever you can do to make sure my daughter comes home, I'm asking for that help. There's nothing else that matters to me now. This girl right here, this is what matters. That is it. Anything else, it comes second to this. Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
This is very important to the family. That's why we're doing the podcast. They're trying to drum up interest and to keep Gabby's disappearance in the news so that they can try to get as many people to help find her as possible. And so I encourage you to listen to this podcast and to share it with as many people as you can. Let's start with what we know. 22-year-old Gabby Petito, who's from Blue Point, Long Island, moved to Florida in 2019 to live with her then boyfriend, now fiance, Brian Laundrie. Her family says that on July 2nd, the two embarked on a cross-country journey. They packed Gabby's white Ford van and headed west, hitting popular national parks along the way while documenting the entire experience on YouTube and Instagram. On video, their cross-country trip looked beautiful, their relationship loving and affectionate. They were supposed to end up in Portland, Oregon in October. But now Brian Laundrie is back in Florida with Gabby's van, and Gabby is nowhere to be found. Her family is clearly distraught and distressed. And so we caught up with Jim Schmidt, her stepfather, who came all the way from Blue Point, Long Island, to here in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, to help with the search himself.
It's been pretty crazy here, just trying to touch base with law enforcement, let them know we're here, that we're here for whatever they need to assist them in the investigation. We're committed to finding Gabby and doing whatever it takes to help them.
And tell me what you're doing here to help people find Gabby. Who have you been talking to?
We've just been out here basically handing out some flyers for the most part. We don't have any people that we're with that are out in the woods. We're not out in the woods. That's not what we're here for. We're just here to support law enforcement with whatever they need.
And you want to also just jog people's memories, right? Like if you happen to see someone, or if someone sees the poster, maybe they'll say something.
Yes. Yesterday when we were handing out some of the flyers, we were putting up in some of the businesses. We walked into one business in particular, and as soon as I walked in, the lady recognized my face. And I had the poster in my hand, and she just started to tear up. It was really touching. So they're very aware of it out here. This is a very transient area, which we're learning, and that's one of the other reasons why we're out here. A lot of people coming in and out, so we're just asking that anybody who has been to this area, has visited, taking pictures, videos, whatever it may be, to go back and look at those and take a look to see if there's anything that may be in there that could help us and help the police do what they have to do to find Gabby.
We know the one person who might know where Gabby is, right?
Yes.
We know there's one person who knows where she is, but they can't get him to talk. Is that ridiculous to you?
It's absolutely absurd. I fully understand a person's constitutional rights, the right to not speak in a situation like this, but everything you see on Facebook, Instagram, whatever it may be, you refer to her as the love of your life. Everything seemed to be happy. You were on a cross-country trip with her, and suddenly you're silent. Why? Why are you silent? Whatever may or may not have happened, you need to speak up. This is about Gabby and finding her, bringing her home to us, so we know she's safe. It's unfathomable why he's not speaking.
It was revealed that your wife's last message that she received from Gabby said, "Service poor in Yosemite." That made no sense to you because she wasn't supposed to be there, right?
The timeline now that we know that the van and he were back in Florida on September 1st, and looking at the time frame from the last text messages, it's really calling into question who sent them, where they came from, and we don't know, and it's upsetting.
The video, I'm sure you saw it, right?
Yes, we had a chance to review it.
What did you think when you saw it? What were your initial thoughts?
It was very upsetting to see them, a little bit of a disagreement, seeing her so upset. It was upsetting.
And we had spoken to your wife before. She said she had no hesitations about her going on this trip at all.
No, none at all. They took a trip within the last year and a half, and they enjoyed it. They loved it. They had done a lot of other trips in the meantime. They had fun, and they were really looking forward to it. When they were at our house before they left on July 2nd, they were so excited. They were getting the van ready, and they couldn't wait to go.
We have a new FBI tip line that we're trying to get out there for anybody who may have seen Gabby or Brian and their vast travels, certainly in the last 3 weeks. And that number is 1-800-CALL-FBI. Another detail is that we are now the lead investigating agency in this, working alongside the FBI and still working alongside the Suffolk County Police Department. Also new is the fact that we've now identified Brian as a person of interest in this case, and the fact we have revealed that we believe he was back here in Northport roughly 10 days before her family reported her missing.
According to the FBI, there were nearly 55,000 adults who went missing last year where the person was believed to be in danger or had gone missing involuntarily, think kidnapping. More than 15,000 were black, while more than 34,000 were white, which includes Latinos, as the FBI doesn't have a separate category for them. So are these numbers reflected in all the coverage or national attention? Joining us now, journalist and host of the podcast Run Tell This, Mara Schiavocampo. Mara, thanks so much for being here. Great to see you.
Thanks for having
Look,
me.
the Gabby Petito story is interesting and raises all kinds of questions, and there are things that need to be investigated and discovered there. This isn't saying that story is not important, but...
Yeah, well, thank you for starting that way, because that's important to know. This isn't saying that Gabby Petito is not important. What it is saying is that there's an overrepresentation in media when white women go missing, and an underrepresentation in media when Black, brown, and indigenous women go missing. So, for example, Lacey Peterson, Natalie Holloway, Chandra Levy, these are all household names. We can all think of their faces when we say their names, but I'm willing to bet that no one watching or listening can name one single Black or brown woman who went missing who became a household name. And there are comparable examples of young, beautiful, middle-class women where every other factor is aligned with, say, Gabby Petito, but the only differentiator is race. So, for example, Nikki Fitz, 32-year-old mother in California, went missing in 2016. How many people know her name? Her 2-year-old daughter went missing with her. That child is still missing to this day. So we're talking about representation.
You might look at media coverage, or a layperson might look at media coverage and say, okay, well, those are the stories that get blown up and that get covered. But what is the harm? What is the harm of it?
Yeah, so unlike with other stories that maybe are, over or underrepresented, this actually has real life implications for women of color. Why? This makes them less safe because predators know that if you want to get away with murder, you seek the victim that no one is going to look for. So this has very real implications for women who are walking around today. Also, when there's all this media attention, that puts pressure on law enforcement. That directs resources to these searches. It increases reward money. So these women are much more likely to be found because of the media attention.
Socializing is integral to our species. All of the social interactions we have had up until this point define how our individual brains work, how different regions connect with each other, how we probe and interact with the environment, and how we respond to different stimuli. Our brain at birth and throughout our lives is sculpted like a stonemason with a chisel on a blank limestone canvas. Every hit being comparable to a social interaction or a stimulus that invariably changes the course of the object and the functionality of the system forever. So what happens when all of this socializing just goes away? We're left with an incomplete, unfinished sculpture left to just weather by the elements. Now, the analogy isn't perfect. Socializing is by no means the only thing that's capable of inducing neural change, or what's called plasticity. All of the sensory information that's picked up by our squadron of sensory receptors like sight, smell, hearing, taste, pain, temperature, touch, all of these different things are capable of altering how the brain functions. But it is socializing that acts as the chisel at your frontal lobes. This brain region is implicated in decision making and executive function. It effectively regulates your behavior, how you act day to day. There's a rather startling and very disturbing example of exactly what happens to an animal when they are placed under these conditions of complete sensory deprivation. The story tracks back to the 1970s in the University of Wisconsin with the professor Harry Harlow. He's a very well-respected neuroscientist of his time, but upon the tragic passing of his wife, he plunged into a deep depression, and his experiments took a very dark turn. Dr. Harlow separated rhesus monkeys from their mothers very shortly after birth and placed them in these steel cages that they couldn't see out of, completely deprived of all sensory experience. He literally called these pits of despair.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. Absolutely huge update in the Gabby Petito story. She has been found, and only because of another YouTuber, a family travel bloggers found her van on a video, and this led to the discovery of her. And while the media is rushing to give the FBI credit, probably because they're trying to do damage control for all that testimony that came out last week with the Olympians, absolutely shocking, embarrassing stuff for the FBI, which serves no real purpose in my opinion. I want to thank the internet. A fellow YouTuber, essentially a fellow YouTuber, YouTube family, YouTube channel is the reason that they found her. Don't believe all these other, these stories about, law enforcement. No, not true. Family travel vloggers share video they believe shows Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie's van around the time of her disappearance. There's another video actually out there of somebody driving by and somebody was in the van and they like closed the door. Pretty creepy stuff. A video posted online early Sunday, okay, this is how quickly it happened, was filmed by family travel vloggers and said to show it showed the van of Gabby and her fiance were traveling around it in the time it's believed that she went missing. The video, which was shared on social media by Jen and Kyle Bethune, also known as Red, White, and Bethune, was captured on August 27th at 6 p.m. in the Grand Teton National Park, Spread Creek Dispersed Camping Area. Jen Bethune told Insider. Bethune said she saw the video for the first time Saturday night when she was looking for footage to upload to her YouTube on Sunday.
On August 27th, 2021, we got camera footage going through the Grand Tetons Park around 6 to 6:30 p.m.
This is at the Spread Creek Dispersed Camping Area. We got there and there was a huge gravel lot, and we decided we wanted to try to drive more toward the back because we had heard the views were better back there. So we were heading back on this long dirt gravel road.
And we came across a white van that had Florida plates, a small white van. We were going to stop and say hi because we're from Florida too, but the van was completely dark. There was nobody there, so we decided to continue on our way.
Yeah, the van looked like it was pretty much kind of abandoned. We figured maybe they were out hiking or they were just chilling inside. There was no doors open. It was just kind of, neat to see a Florida plate, on the other side of the country. It's not something you see all the time.
But we wanted to include this in the video just in any way that we can help and get this out there to be able to find Gabby Petito. So if you could share it, if you know anything, please don't hesitate.
Yeah, as we're coming up on it, we're approaching it up here on the left-hand side. This is most definitely Gabby Petito's Ford Transit van. It's kind of wild, like it's insane a little bit, because we drove past, we actually weren't able to find any sites, and we ended up driving back through, saw it again, but here it is on the left.
And I slowed it down so you can possibly see it a little bit better.
Some people don't believe that the door is really closing on the back of the van. Some people want to know about the sandals, and others want to know whether there was somebody sitting in the driver's side in the van itself, or something's in there. So let's go over that real quick. First, I just want to show you that this is a file on my hard drive, because some people thought that I might have been, I don't know, I guess modifying it in some way. This is the original video, the raw video that the woman uploaded to her YouTube channel. It is 1.91 gigabytes on my hard drive. It's an MKV file. It's right here on my hard drive. So I open it up. When I open it up, it's a media player here called MPC BE64. I like it because, zooming, slow motion, it's just great. And if anybody wants to know technical details here, I'm using the MadVR render. It's probably the highest quality you can get. So that's probably why it looks as good as it does. So some people thought for some reason I was like it was a doctored video or something. This is what it would normally look like if you're just watching it right here. See? You don't really see anything, especially if you're on a cell phone. You can't see anything. So let me fast forward a little bit. Right here is the point you start seeing the van. You can't, if you're on a cell phone, you're not gonna be able to see it. So I will zoom in right now, Zooming is a little bit choppy just because it's the MadVR codec or the MadVR renderer. So you can see right here in the direct center of the screen, that is the back of the van. You'll see it's black in the center right there. Now I'm going to slow it down and let it play just kind of slowly. You'll see as we round the corner, you'll still see a black line right in the center there. I'm trying to zoom in a little bit more. There, okay. There's a black sliver right in this back of that van. You would think it's a tree, right? Well, we'll see in a second here. So you're going to start seeing it close here in a second. Watch. It's going to start closing. Watch very carefully. Right in the center of the screen right now. There it goes. It's starting to close. Boom. Closed. Okay? Did you get that? Let me rewind just one more time. Not as slow. You're going to see it and closed. Now, if you think it's a tree, I'll just let it play a little bit here and you'll see that's not actually a tree. You'll see there's no tree in the center. There's a tree to the left and a couple trees to the right there. But that was definitely open. Absolutely open. Now, that's really hard to see if you're just watching it like this. It's almost impossible. You basically have to zoom in. Now, about the sandals. All right, let me zoom in on the sandals so you can see them. Some people were asking about the sandals. And right at the back, you can see right there, right at the base of that ladder, you'll see there are definitely 2 sandals there. I'll rewind it and play it in slow motion just so you can see. Yep, there's definitely 2 sandals there, okay? There's a front angle of this. There it is. See? Nobody's hiding on the side. Now, let's see what that actually is. All right. It actually looks like a pillow or something. So, I know nobody's going to like me, but I'm not a really superstitious person, you know? I'm pretty scientifically minded. I live in reality. There's nothing in this video that I want to see, that I'm looking to try to see. I just want the facts, you know? I just kind of want to know what really happened, regardless of my opinion. And it looks like pillows strapped to the seat or something, pretty high up, obviously above the steering wheel. But it doesn't seem to be a person. It doesn't seem to be... But there definitely was a person in the back. I don't know if it's Gabby. I don't know if it's Brian as of this point. Maybe we'll learn in the future. I'm guessing it's Gabby just because of the sandals. I don't think that dude wore those sandals. Somebody did post a picture somewhere. One more time on this damn door. I just want people to see it for sure, you know? I don't want there to be any misconceptions here. That definitely is closing, absolutely. Okay, that's it.
Good afternoon. My name is Charles Jones. I'm the Supervisory Senior Resident Agent here in Wyoming for FBI Denver. Standing with me here today are Acting Chief Ranger Matt Wilbur with the National Park Service, Hunter Bailey, who is Chief of the National Park Service Investigative Services Branch. We also have Teton County Sheriff Matt Carr and Jackson Police Chief Michelle Weber. First and foremost, on behalf of the FBI personnel and our partners, I would like to extend sincere and heartfelt condolences to Gabby's family. Joe and Tara Petito and Jim and Nicole Schmidt. As every parent can imagine, this is an incredibly difficult time for the family and friends. Our thoughts and prayers are with them. We ask that you all respect the privacy as they mourn the loss of their daughter. As you are aware, FBI personnel, in coordination with our partners at National Park Service, the Forest Service, Teton County Sheriff's Office, and Jackson Police Department, have been conducting an investigative activity in the vicinity of the Spread Creek dispersed camping area. Earlier today, human remains were discovered, consistent with the description of Gabby Petito. Full forensic identification has not been completed to confirm 100% that we found Gabby, but her family has been notified of this discovery. The cause of death has not been determined at this time. We appreciate your continued support and patience as we work through this process. The vicinity around Spread Creek campsite will remain closed to the public until further notice. This is an active and ongoing investigation, so we ask everyone maintain distance from law enforcement personnel and equipment, vehicles, and related activity for their own safety, as well as to protect the integrity of our work and respect privacy for Gabby's family. We appreciate the tremendous support from the public. The support from the public's response to request of tips has been remarkable. We continue to seek information from anyone who utilized the Spread Creek dispersed camping area between the dates of August 27th and August 30th. Anyone that may have had contact with Gabby or her boyfriend, or who may have seen their vehicle in that area. Please share any new information with the FBI at tips.fbi.gov or 1-800-CALL-FBI. And finally, the Denver Field Office Direct is 303-629-7171. Photos and videos can also be uploaded at fbi.gov/Petito. We thank our partners at the National Park Service, the U.S. Forest Service, Teton County Sheriff's Office, and Jackson Police Department for their collaboration and diligence in this investigation. They surged their resources in a very short amount of time, and their personnel have intimate knowledge of the rugged terrain that we're dealing with, which made this process much more difficult. We greatly appreciate the invaluable skill and expertise of the Teton County Search and Rescue Team. We also thank the community of Jackson and the surrounding areas for the hospitality and for accommodating a rapid influx of law enforcement personnel in the area. In order to protect our investigative process and increase probability of successful prosecution should it be necessary, we have no additional comments. We appreciate your cooperation and respect for Gabby's family, loved ones, during this difficult time. Thank you.
So an obviously emotional FBI agent there telling us what many people had long feared. Gabby Petito, it is believed, has been found dead near the Spread Creek campsite in Grand Teton National Park. The autopsy has not yet provided a cause of death, and in fact, it has not yet provided absolutely confirmation of her identity. However, you notice that there, in the photos of her, there are tattoos on her arms and so forth. There are ways to make a presumptive identification, and that, it appears, is what the FBI has done in this case. They started the news conference by saying, "We offer our condolences to Gabby's family, and we ask for your thoughts and prayers."
The identification will be completed within a day or two, I suspect. But right now, it's really, for all intents and purposes, it's a definite identification. It isn't anybody else. The next point of view is, what is the cause of death? And that'll take the autopsy. The body is still probably at the site where she was found, because the person in charge of that body is the coroner. The FBI does not have their own medical examiner coroner. They'll wait there for the coroner to come and make a decision on moving the body. They have a lot of potential trace evidence at the scene. Shoe prints that he could have left days ago, but more likely a cigarette butt, a soda can, a beer can that may have been discarded at the scene, that would have fingerprints and DNA on it even after 25 days.
Just in from the Teton County coroner in Wyoming, confirming the body found in Grand Teton National Park is Gabby Petito, and she was killed. Her death now ruled a homicide. This comes as the search remains ongoing for Gabby's fiance, Brian Laundrie. Let's get straight out to Fox 13's Josh Cassio is live in Northport near the Laundrie's home. So this is a big development, expected, but a big development, Josh.
Yeah, Kelly, this is another major piece of a very, twisted puzzle. Let's dive a little deeper into what we're learning right now. This tweet just came in a few minutes ago. It comes from the FBI field office in Denver. We can now confirm a few things that had been up in the air. First, yes, it is official now. Those are the remains of Gabby Petito found in Wyoming Sunday. We also know from Teton County Coroner Dr. Brent Blue that the initial manner of death is homicide. And to be clear, clear, homicide means the killing of one person caused by another. Now, the coroner says the cause of death at this point is still pending the final autopsy results. So we can't say exactly how Gabby died, but it appears she was killed by someone else. This, of course, will ratchet up the heat on Brian Laundrie, who investigators are still searching for. As far as we know right now, he is still considered a person of interest in the case, though no one will be surprised if that changes very soon. As for out here at the Laundrie home, it's been mostly quiet today, but of course we could start to see that change in the coming hours and days based on this latest news, again confirming that Gabby died by homicide, which means she was killed by someone else. Kelly, a major development in this ongoing case.
In an exclusive interview with ABC, Cassie Laundrie says she hasn't spoken to her brother since he returned to their parents' home in Florida.
I haven't been able to talk to him. I wish I could talk to him.
Laundrie says she's told police everything she knows about her brother, Brian Laundrie, and his fiancée, Gabby Petito, and their cross-country road trip.
I've cooperated every way that I can. I wish I had information or I would give more. This is all I have is I gave to the police.
Petito's father says he isn't sure Cassie Laundrie is being fully transparent, given the fact that her parents and her brother haven't said one word to police.
I'm hoping that the pleas and the begging and the community and the, entire damn planet knock some sense into her, where she's like, I gotta speak.
Police in Northport, Florida, where the Suffolk County natives had been living with Laundrie's parents, are continuing to put pressure on the Laundrie family today by doing more media appearances. But the family doesn't seem to be budging. Neither does Brian Laundrie, who is in a known location to investigators in Florida. Police say they're still processing whatever they found in the couple's camper van. Laundrie and the van were in Florida for more than a week before anyone even knew Petito was missing.
The FBI announced today that an autopsy has confirmed that the body found in Wyoming is that of missing Gabby Petito, and her death is being labeled a homicide. Meantime, the search is intensifying for her fiancé, Brian Laundrie. Just yesterday, police said they had exhausted all avenues at a nature preserve near Brian's Florida home. But today they were back out using special gear, including a swamp buggy. Stephen Fabian reports.
Police and FBI agents are returning to the nature reserve where Gabby Petito's fiancé may be hiding. It's a manhunt by air and swamp buggy.
We're about 10 feet in the air on top of what's called a swamp buggy right now, and you can see why it has that name. This thing goes through anything, mud, muck. We're going through about 3 feet of water right now. Investigators here in Florida are using vehicles like this in the search for Brian Laundrie, and one thing's for sure, you can't hide from a swamp buggy.
Before dawn, a sheriff's helicopter equipped with infrared thermal cameras swept the alligator-infested Carlton Preserve. The chopper's flight path shows the helicopter making several figure-8 passes. Sightings of Laundrie are pouring in. Could this shadowy image be him? It was captured by a motion-activated game camera at 6 a.m., 500 miles north of today's search site.